Hey, now shout out to Daniel Bill though for this one. I know recently in a lot of reactions I've been kind of referring to Little Richard whenever it comes to like discussing the Beatles and the roots of rock and roll and stuff like that. So he kind of put me down this rabbit hole while I was watching that he wanted me to watch a few videos about Little Richard's legacy. So what I decided to do, he sent me like 3 videos. So what I decided to do was react to 2 clips in one video and do another video in a separate clip. Since
Bruh.
I know since the first 2 videos have a lot to do with each other because they're linked together, and the next one is about beating the Beatles. So we'll do those on separate videos because I want to keep the length of the video pretty like at least 10 to 12 minutes. So but with that being said, we got Lisa Cortés on her film exploring Little Richard's legendary rock and roll legacy. Okay. So I'm gonna change the scene so you guys get a clearer view, and we're gonna watch it like this. All right, so let's get it.
A new documentary, Little Richard, I Am Everything, tells the story of one of rock and roll's founding stars. It premiered earlier this year at the Sundance Film Festival. That's where NewsHour co-anchor Amna Nawaz sat down with the director, Lisa Cortés. It's part of our arts and culture series, Canvas.
The rollicking, innuendo-filled Tutti Frutti first sent Little Richard a
Bro, I ain't gonna front. That's the first big person I've seen. Whenever I see these like past clips and stuff, that's the first big person I've seen. That's crazy. All right.
The rollicking, innuendo-filled Tutti Frutti first
Yeah,
sent
that
Little
is-
Richard
yeah, it is a
erupting
song,
across
but filled with
American
innuendo.
airwaves in 1955. Born Richard Penniman 23 years earlier in Macon, Georgia.
He from Macon? I got my great grandmother. My great grandmother is from Macon. That'd be kind of tough. Wouldn't that be like kind of weird if I was oddly related to Little Richard?
23 years earlier in Macon, Georgia. Little Richard became known for his explosive stage presence and a larger-than-life persona.
Shut up!
A new documentary, Little Richard, I Am Everything, by
Man, this is
filmmaker Lisa
crazy.
Cortés, explores the impact of the iconic musician.
What I've done in the film is to actually
Oh,
present
so she
him
black.
as
Okay.
Stardust, as someone who's like a supernova from another planet that just boom bursts.
That's what he
and
seemed like too
all the
to
stardust
even his
comes to
peers.
the earth, and that's like the essence of Richard. And part of my thesis that we all have a little bit of his DNA in us.
That DNA, she says, is most clear in our music. One of rock and roll's founding fathers, Little Richard bridged the worlds of rhythm and blues, gospel and soul with showmanship that was all his own.
From the balcony we hear, I am an atom bomb, eyes wide open in a cape. And he jumps off the balcony, ran up to the stage, and I was rocketed into the 5th dimension. I wasn't of this earth anymore.
His performance was rooted in both black and queer tradition.
Man, but it like his means of like exerting all his energy, like you can see how much of that he projects into his performances. It's almost like probably being around the Jordan of that time, you know?
His performance was rooted in both black and queer tradition. Kicked out of his home as a teen for being gay, Little Richard found a safe space in a local speakeasy.
And then he begins to find his other family. He finds his tribe. He goes on the road and performs as a drag queen, Princess Lavone. So it's a really special way that he comes into the world.
I am the king of rock and roll!
His energy and music went on to inspire generations of performers.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones, who are a bar band that opened for him for 30 days in a row, and as Mick Jagger so lovingly shared, he's like, I sat there on the side of the stage for 30 days and learned that I could own a stage and I could be performative because of Little Richard.
It's stuff like that. It's stuff like that that has to be said, because a lot of the comments that I do get on this channel is that people are naturally born talented, when a lot of people really don't have, they didn't come from the same background as somebody. So they're not deeply rooted in what the blues or rock and roll may be for like Little Richard. So for Mick Jagger to be able to sit there and learn under Little Richard for 30 days shaped his whole career. You know what I'm saying? And for as great as Mick Jagger's career with the Rolling Stones was, he owes that to Little Richard. It changed his life. So when we come back and see the roots and see certain people not make it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I'm talking about other groups, not Little Richard, but you would think they was able to do that all by themselves, but they just couldn't. They couldn't.
He's like, I sat there on the side of the stage for 30 days and learned that I could own a stage and I could be performative because of Little Richard.
A then little-known band called the Beatles toured with him in 1962.
Little Richard is the king of shade. And one of the best lines in the film is when he's talking about the Beatles and he says, ain't nobody know them but their mothers. I mean, it's like, but wait a minute, they're the Beatles. You know, every great artist brings something on their own, but every great artist also samples a little bit from somebody who came before them.
True, and that's that's one of the biggest premises that I've been telling everybody on this channel. Though the Bee Gees and Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin may be great in their own right, in their own originality, they took a little bit from somebody else to help them get where they need to be. This whole thing is about influences. Music is for everybody, but my thing was that when I say who are their influences, I'm saying who are their inspirations. You know what I mean?
But many white artists simply copied his work wholesale, often with great success.
When you see the influence he had on, in particular, white artists and white bands who went on to be much more successful, there's a voice in the film that says it goes beyond appropriation, and it's more like obliteration.
Wow.
Obliteration means a negation of what...
That's a pretty strong word. Obliteration over appropriation? Dude, I wasn't expecting them to say that. But true, it's true, because people forgot about it. People forgot about Little Richard. People forgot about him.
Like obliteration.
Obliteration means a negation of what someone has contributed. And it also means that by negating them, they don't have the opportunity to make money off of what they have contributed.
Little Richard fought that erasure. Here he is speaking at the late Otis Reading's induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1989.
One of the greatest composers ever lived. That's including me. And everybody else, Jimi Hendrix and all of them that's been with me. James Brown, the Beatles, and Mick Jagger, he was with me too. Mick, you remember that? He said he was sleeping on the floor. They didn't have no bed for him.
He's at a point in his life where...
I'm so happy he did that. That's just something that Black people, we do that. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain way of throwing that shade out there. Like, yeah, I was there. I was a part of all of that.
No bed for him.
He's at a point in his life where he sees how so many others have benefited from what he started, and how he's never received any recognition, never received a Grammy. At that point in the film, we have all gone on the journey with him. We have seen where that cosmic dust of creativity has landed and influenced others. but we've also seen the lack in many ways that it's given to Richard.
His own internal tension between the church in which he was raised and the stage where he could be uninhibited is laid bare in the film.
My main thing in life now is to be a messenger. Whether you're homosexual or whatever walk of life a person may be, God loves them.
He existed in contradiction. He could be openly gay in some ways, probably to his circles. This happened for decades.
There's this pendulum, between the sacred and the profane. And there is a tremendous struggle for him to be someone who loves God as much as he does, but to also question what that relationship can be as a queer person.
Wow.
What do you think his legacy is when it comes to the LGBTQ community today?
He had a lot of complexities about his queerness, but what I do love is someone like a Billy Porter, who in our film says, regardless of all of that, his very being gave me permission as a gay Black man to express myself completely. He introduced into culture this sense of fluidity that so many artists then picked up on and have amplified.
And I can see that even with Mick Jagger. I saw a little bit of that with a lot of the flamboyancy when it came to a lot of the lead singers of a lot of bands. Like even with what's his name? David Lee Roth, you saw that. Mick Jagger, of course, shoot. Can we say Rolling Stone? Well, no, that is the Rolling Stones, but what's the other one? I can't remember their name. My bad.
Cortés, who started her career as a hip-hop music executive, says that fluidity can be seen in today's stars, like Lil Nas X. The Little Richard song she wishes she could have included,
Keep a knocking, but I can't come in. That's like Richard's story. It's like he keeps trying to get in there. He keeps trying to access it all, but he just couldn't get in there. But at the same time, there's so much joy and liberation in the music that he gave to us.
The film Little Richard, I Am Everything is available to stream online now on Apple TV and Amazon Prime Video. For PBS News Weekend, I'm Amna Nawaz.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I might have to watch that, man. Y'all guys, let me know if you guys want me to watch that. I see about putting it on Patreon for y'all to view, but I don't know if I'll be able to get away with it on YouTube, but I have to do a lot of editing. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I think it was great when it comes to knowing the history. You know what I'm saying? What Little Richard did on that stage, what he did on that stage. He said at the peak of his career, Little Richard temporarily quit the music business, enrolled in Bible college, and became an evangelical. I remember, I think it was an interview that he did. It was an interview that he did, and he was dressed straight to the T, and I think it was right before he passed. It was right before he passed. And I guess that war within was over because he was full evangelical at that point. And it's kind of crazy to see that because it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish. You know what I mean? So we're going to take a quick look at another clip. This is him, one clip from the movie, one clip from the movie. And Daniel wanted me to look at a certain part where it was with Elvis, because I think Elvis was here too.
With the beautiful Little Richard from down in Macon, Georgia. I want you all to know that the king of rock and roll.
He threw that claim out there and then wasn't ashamed of it either. He said, I am the king of rock and roll.
Richard was the first thing I remember. Like, as far as rock and roll was concerned.
That's Mick right there.
One time, Elvis came backstage, and Elvis said, well, Richard, don't you ever worry about anything. You will always be the true king of rock and roll.
That's what Elvis said. Elvis said, you don't have to worry about anything. You are the true king of rock and roll. That's it. I'm gonna watch that. Let me know if you guys want me to watch that in the comment section below. But I think there's definitely I think the true problem of the music industry is a lot of artists are deeply rooted in Black culture, but when they get big, that Black culture is like erased from their artists, the historical whatever of their artistry. You know what I mean? It disappears. And I want to bring light to that. I want to put the magnifying light on that and let y'all know that what I was told, even by my own grandfather, it was true. And I'm not saying that y'all didn't ignore Black artists. I think that's more of like what the industry did too. So, it's, the fans ain't to blame. I'm not blaming the fans, but, putting the light back on the history and just telling the truth. Yeah, we gotta say this. We gotta give Little Richard his just due, no matter what walk of life he may have came from. So with that being said, post your comments down below. Let me know if you guys think about that. And I'll catch you guys at another one, all right?